Hey everybody, this is Darren Van Dam, and you are watching Flick Connection, the show that helps you get more out of movies. And today I want to tell you about some really great horror movies that are hiding out on the free movie service Tubi. So for those of you that don't know, Tubi is an absolutely free service. You don't even have to create an account. You can just download it. This is in no way sponsored by Tubi. I just find it to be one of the better free services because the ads are very, very minimal. So give it a try. Odds are it's available on whatever device you watch movies on. And then another quick note about Tubi is it is kind of rough trying to find something good to watch on it because there's a lot of content and there is a lot of on it as well, but there are some great horror movies, ones that you've definitely seen and love hiding, and there's some that you've probably never seen, and that's what this list is about. So we're gonna start all the way back at number 10 with a little known movie called Crush the Skull. Now this is a very, very low budget movie, but it's extremely successful because it's funny. Now I wouldn't quite say this is a horror comedy, but I guess it is. But this is about a group of robbers that break into this swanky house and they cannot get back out. And the further they go into this house, the darker things get. And it's just really funny characters. It's well written. Their comedic timing is good. And then it's got some good like jump scares and some tension and stuff built up in it as well. It's just sort of a fun, kind of fresh movie, especially if you love watching smaller projects that are really well done. This is a fantastic one. So Color Out of Space is a movie a lot of people are talking about. It just became available. I watched it. I liked it a lot. It's an adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft, and the thing that's getting it so much buzz is there's very few movies that are direct adaptations of H.P. Lovecraft. There's a lot of influence. Guillermo del Toro takes a lot of influence from H.P. Lovecraft and tons of other movies, but there's very few. Dagon is on Tubi, and it is a direct adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work. Again, another very low budget project. This is sort of like a midnight, straight to the Sci-Fi Channel level of a production, but I liked it for one main reason is how out of control this movie gets. It starts off fairly lame. You've got these people on a sailboat that get marooned, and it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere, and it just continues to ramp up and it gets really wild and crazy. But keep in mind, another low budget entry on this list, and there are some better ones on this list, but its faithfulness to H.P. Lovecraft is pretty great. So if you're a fan of H.P. Lovecraft's work and his influencers and all of that stuff, this would be worth watching. If you really don't care too much about it, I don't know that I would persuade somebody to watch this that didn't have any interest in it otherwise. Last Shift is another low budget entry on this list that works surprisingly well. This one was on Netflix for a while. Now it's hiding out over on Tubi. And by hiding out, I mean you would have to scroll forever to find this movie. You're gonna have to search for these that I'm telling you about. But as of the time of me posting this, they're all available on Tubi. And The Last Shift is about this police station that's closing down, and it is literally the last shift. There's one person sort of manning the front desk because everyone else has moved to the news station, and dark things start to happen because something has happened in this police station. And what I like about this one is because it's low budget, there's no crazy special effects and stuff, but what they do use is very effective. So they're having to use the camera in ways to make these scares work. Nothing fancy, just effective, and it's pretty terrifying. It's got some really horrifying moments in it. There is some gore in this one. It's pretty intense at times, so be aware of that. But if that's your bag, you're gonna dig The Last Shift. Now my next pick, we bring up the production value a little bit, and it is the least like a horror movie on this list, but it's well worth mentioning. It's called Hunted. This is a Canadian film about a vampire. It's got some vibes of like the teenage angst vampire stuff, not Twilight, but fans of the Vampire Diaries and the originals I think are gonna like this, and even people that don't like those shows can probably still like this. It's about a teenage boy who is basically a vampire, but he's sort of the only one, and he's trying to sort of fit in. The way I'm describing it sounds lame. He's trying to pretend that he's not one, and he is a like vicious animal that feeds on the blood of others. You know, like that's basically what's going on here. And again, this one works well because it had some heart to it. It felt a little bit more real. I liked elements of it. It kind of was like a low rent, let the right one in terms of just like being frustrated that you have to live this life. It had elements of that and even maybe tried to emulate that a little bit, and it succeeds enough to make a pretty good watch. So for like a hidden gem that you've probably never heard of, this is a great pick. One of the more terrifying ones on this list is Isolation. This one takes place in a farm in England, and there's weird animal experiments, and it's just mud and blood and goo and parasites, and just, this one is just drenched in this disgusting layer of slime, and it's pretty cool. Like I said, it's dark, it's gritty, it's pretty terrifying, and if you just want to watch this, I don't want to say haunted house because they're in a farm, they're in a barn for most of the time, but it's got that like Halloween haunted house level of a story. If you like that genre, Isolation's a great one. That's another just hidden gem that very few people know about. I've talked about it as it has appeared on some other streaming services, but it's been a while, and I'm happy to see that it's here on Tubi. Before moving on to my top 5, if you like this type of content and you're new here, definitely click that subscribe button and be sure to click that little bell icon so you get notified when I put out new videos like this one or recommendations for Netflix, Prime, Hulu, and other services like that. Now, I still consider my next pick a hidden gem, even though a lot of you have probably seen it by now and liked it. That's Hell House LLC. So I'll be brief. This is for people that haven't seen it yet. Another sort of haunted house theme, except this one is a found footage format, and it's about a group of people who open a big haunted house for Halloween. So it's their business, it's their LLC, and weird stuff starts happening in the house. This one made very good use of the found footage angle. Yes, it's a lower budget, cheaper way to make a movie, but they made it feel fresh. It's kind of well-worn territory, and Hell House felt a little bit fresh and a little bit new, enough that I wasn't distracted by the found footage aspect, and some of the scares are pretty great in it as well, and it's a fun Halloween level movie. Now, Dog Soldiers is basically about werewolves, but they're these engineered for the military werewolf-like animals. This one is loaded, and I mean loaded with, I want to say, exclusively practical effects. The dog soldiers look crazy. They're all practical, a lot of practical blood and guts. It's about a group of soldiers trapped in a house, surrounded by these dog creatures. So there's a lot of gunfire, and this one just kind of goes off the rails and gets crazy. But this is from a pretty good director. They did a handful of other movies that I really liked as well. This is one of his earlier works. It's got that sort of like sci-fi original level production, but just done like extremely well. Like they killed it. They did everything great, and it's a ton of fun to watch. If you like those bloody, keep all the monsters out of the house format horror movies, Dog Soldiers is an absolute gem. Another one that I know is popular, but it's this low budget thing that has still eluded a lot of people, is VHS. Now, there's a whole series of them. I happen to find the first one to be the best. The second one's pretty good as well. I think they're all on Tubi right now. Stay away from the viral one. That's my recommendation. But the original VHS is an anthology flick, and it's got a good little thing that ties it together. These people are in a house, creepy house, and they find all these VHS tapes, and each one has this weird story on it. So if you love the anthology series, this is a fantastic one. They're all good. They're dark, they're gritty, they're surprising, so I won't say anything more. Obviously, with an anthology flick, you're gonna have a couple that you really like and some not so much, but that's the point of watching one like this. I saw it at a film festival, and not only did I like it, but the audience went nuts. It was a lot of fun. It would be a great one to watch at home one night when the lights are out and you want to be creeped out. Now, my last two are ones that I really like a lot, and they're funny. I wouldn't quite classify them as horror comedies because they're not just overly silly. They do have scares in them, and they are creepy, but they've got a good sense of humor about them too. The first one being Grave Encounters, which I know I just mentioned as being one of the best ones on Prime Video. It's my number 2 pick here. But I stand by this one. I absolutely love it. It's about a group of ghost hunters that go into this hospital, and they're trying to catch something supernatural. That's fun enough. It's got some good little moments and scares in it, but then there's the twist where something happens and the stakes are raised dramatically, and it's a lot of fun. It's really effective. Another found footage one that did a great job with that format because it's supposed to be in that format. They're filming a show, they happen to be in this hospital, and it's a ton of fun. This one's got some really effective scares. They made a sequel that's also on Tubi. It's also on Prime at the moment. Lots of fun to watch these movies. If you've never seen them, I think you'll be surprised how much you like them. And like I said, that was my top pick of ones on Prime right now. My number 2 pick of hidden gem horror movies on Tubi, though, is Housebound. Now, this is one that was on Netflix, then it was on Prime. It's moved around. Tubi is the only place I'm aware of it being right now in the United States. This one is another sort of haunted house thing with someone who is under house arrest in a house with strange goings on. But this one is made in New Zealand, and it's got that New Zealand sense of humor. Think Flight of the Conchords, What We Do in the Shadows. It's not overly silly where it ruins some of the scares and stuff, but it's just fun. It's a good quality, well-rounded movie that I think anybody who's not completely opposed to horror can love. This is one you could watch with groups and really enjoy. I love it. I've watched it a few times, and I'm very happy to recommend it. It's one of those recommendations I'm excited to tell you about because it's going to be one of your new favorite movies that you found recently. So I hope you enjoyed this Tubi list. Keep in mind, if you've never used Tubi, you might as well try with one of my top picks here. If these videos get enough views, I'll do more of them. If you want more of them, click the like button. Make a comment, share it. Those are the things that get videos like this to get seen more. But I'd like to thank the Patreon supporters. They are the reason that I'm able to do videos like this that may not perform very well on YouTube. It takes a lot of hours to edit this thing together. It's hours and hours of work that I wouldn't do if it's only gonna get a handful of views, but I'll take the risk because of these Patreon supporters. So you have them to thank, but I will keep making my regular list videos as long as you keep watching them. I'll make another one like this if enough of you watch it. But thanks for watching this one, and you will see me on the next one.